It's time to play dirty and ranked. Let's go! For this ranked season, I'll show you how I climb with Trickstars! So let's quickly go over the build. For our engine, we're running 14 starters and 4 extenders. For our non-engine, we're running 12 hand traps and 2 staples. And with that, let's hop into the games! So there's a saying, don't Maxx C a Trickstar player. And you're about to see exactly why. Now that we're under Maxx C, we're gonna bring out the perfect Trickstar for this situation. And Trickstar Lifestage will help us get her. Go Trickstar Lycoris! With Lycoris, our opponent will now get burned whenever a card gets added to their hand. And we're sure gonna make them draw a whole lot. But why stop there? We're playing Trickstar and we're gonna play dirty. So we're gonna bring out our most dangerous Trickstar. Go Trickstar Holly Angel! With Holly Angel, they'll also get burned whenever we summon a Trickstar to Holly Angel's zones. And with Trickstar Lifestage backing us up, our opponent is now going to take 800 damage each time. Now if we go uninterrupted, we can actually do a first turn kill. But this is ranked, so things don't always go as planned. Because our opponent is drawing a lot from Maxx C, it's very likely that they'll draw into a hand trap. Infinite Impermanence will stop Lycoris from doing more burn damage. But that doesn't mean we can't keep up the pressure, so let's bring her out! Go Trickstar Drumatis! She'll help us grab another Trickstar so Holly Angel can keep on burning. But our opponent has another hand trap waiting for us. Okay, so Droll and Lock normally hits Trickstar pretty hard. But because we were able to get most of our searches earlier in our turn, we should still be good. Now here's the thing. With all the cards in our opponent's hand waiting to destroy us, we still need to win this turn. So how are we gonna do it? Our opponent is already down a good chunk of their life points. So all we have to do is keep bringing out more Trickstars for Holly Angel to keep on burning. But we definitely need to go uninterrupted now. It's a good thing we were able to peek into their hand with talents to see that they don't have anything else to stop us. And also, since our opponent used Droll, we won't have to worry about them drawing into any more surprise hand traps. So let's push for the win! With our opponent's life points hitting a critical point, it's now time to bring out our final Trickstar. Go Trickstar Bella Madonna! And that's what happens when you Maxx C a Trickstar player. So you know we can't play dirty without busting out the classic Trickstar hand rip. And the awesome part is, when this works, we practically win on the spot. Our opponent does stop Trickstar Candina from letting us search, but it's a good thing we still have a backup. All we need is 2 key cards, Droll and Lock and Trickstar Reincarnation. With Trickstar Hoody, we can grab our fusion spell to bring out our second searcher. But our opponent has something for us. Retaliating C actually sucks quite a bit for Trickstar. It doesn't stop us from searching, but it does shut down our Droll. But we have a plan. You see, normally for the Trickstar hand rip to work, we need to wait for our opponent to search for a card so Droll can kick in. But instead of waiting, what if we instead convince our opponent to search for a card? That's right, we're gonna use their own monster against them. If we can destroy Retaliating C, not only will we be able to use our Droll, but we can convince them to use Retaliating C's search. I mean, who wouldn't want to add a Maxx C to their hand, right? And just as planned, our opponent took the bait. Now that they added a card to their hand, we can do the Trickstar hand rip. Go Trickstar Reincarnation! At this point, our opponent thinks that they can survive a turn. But with our extenders in the grave, there's no way that that'll happen. So you know Trickstar has even more dirty tricks, right? Like dealing massive damage to big monsters left out on the field. And you'll see exactly how we'll do it. All we have to do now is deal with their Baron the floor. Go Angel of Blue Tears! With the Omni Negate out of the way, it's time to prepare for our dirty play. Although Trickstar Candina's search gets negated, we actually don't need all that much to close out the game. And that's because of the chunky 3k attack monster that they left out on the field in attack position. But you may wonder, what's so good about this? With Drumatis, she does come with a search, but she also comes with another 30 effect. You see, when our opponent takes some effect damage, Drumatis can reduce a monster's attack all the way down to 0. Now this may not seem that impressive on the surface, but because we have Trickstar Colchica in our grave, this becomes quite deadly. Not only will our opponent be taking the usual battle damage, but they'll also be taking Baron's original attack as effect damage on top of that. And that's how Trickstar deals big chunks of damage. So for this final duel, what happens when Trickstar is really put to the test? And what better opponent than to fight Dracotail? So how do we approach this? Because Dracotail Malulu can only use its effect during the main phase, we're gonna force it through battle. Now it's time for a search. We luckily have Ash Blossom and Columbine to deal with Dracotail, Flame, and Phimena, so our life stage can get a search. But because we used up our battle phase already, all we can really do is set up our board. So what we need to do is get our second searcher, and that means fusion summoning. So let's bring her out. Go Trickstar Drumatis! And she'll let us grab... Darn. Now all we can do is try not to get destroyed next turn. On a side note, a neat tech card I've been running in Trickstar is Mutiny in the Sky. It's an awesome way to fuse from the graveyard, and since Trickstar is a fairy deck, it works out perfectly. Although our board isn't very powerful, we can still make use of Small World. Normally we use Small World to grab our starters, but in this situation, we can actually use it to grab a hand trap. Well, this isn't good. We are gonna lose our monsters, but at least we survived. And that means we can still make a comeback. An awesome thing about Mutiny is that it can recur itself from the grave. And you'll see that's all we need. So let's bring her out. Go Trickstar Drumatis! We now have what we need to close out the game. Just like last game, we're gonna use Drumatis to reduce their monster's attack all the way down to 0. Plus, we have the Colchica bomb in our grave waiting to explode, so let's finish them up the Trickstar way. So that's Trickstar in this season of Ranked. And for context, we were playing in High Plat to Low Diamond. I think for Trickstar being a pet deck, they honestly did pretty well. They may not be meta, but they're always fun to play, and their dirty tricks can often catch people off guard. So if you're looking to give Trickstar a try, I highly recommend it. Just make sure you have enough UR points to spare, as they are expensive. But if you'd like to see a more powerful deck, maybe you'll want to check out my other video where I showcase Mimigo Pearly. It's super awesome. Anyway, thanks for dropping by. Bye bye!